Hello, Fermented folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to our featured author of the month this beautiful February. We have a very special treat for you. We have Michael A. Jacobs, author of sci-fi, horror, fantasy, and lots of things all together. And kind of blending all those genres together is Michael out there doing it in a very unique fashion. So, Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show, being here with us today, with me, Clay Vermolum, and my co-host, Travis Vermolum.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it is our pleasure. How is 2023 treating you so far, Michael?
Pretty good. I got one novel out for the month, so I'm for the year. Sorry, my goal is to get 5 out this year. So,
wow,
yeah.
Jeez, Louise, why you got to make the rest of us look bad? I released one novella out here.
Them some Sanderson numbers right there.
Seriously. What is your newest novel? I didn't see it on your website as I was perusing today.
Yes, because it's not on there just yet. It's going to release on the 20th. It is book 5 of my core series.
Nice. The core series. That you're killing it with that thing.
Yeah. So one more to go for that one. So I'll start writing book 6. Maybe March, April, something like that.
Speaking of opening with that, just if I want to get 5 novels out this year, I want to ask the first question: like, what are some of your writing strategies you employ to accomplish that amount of work done? Because I think a lot of people might want to break out a notebook when they hear this first question.
Well, my first thing when people ask me that is to don't do what I do because it's a little crazy. So I used to only get 3 hours of sleep because I was just cranking out things, and now I've slowed down. So I get 6 hours of sleep now.
All right.
No, I don't know if you've ever heard of NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, every November. Yeah, that's pretty much something that I do on a yearly basis, every month, pretty much. So November is kind of like piece of cake. Yes, I can write a novel in 30 days if I put my mind to it. Sometimes I stretch it out to 60 or 90, depending on the project. So, yeah, my goal is to always try to get about 2,000 words a day.
Wow. Okay. 2,000 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great pace to set. So that's probably for your rough draft, I assume.
Yes.
As you've grown as an author and released more and more things, how have you managed to refine your editing process to speed that up and to make it more efficient? What kind of tactics do you employ for that?
I still, to this day, I still just dump it all out. And then from there, and when I dump out, I write kind of bare bones. So there's not much scenery. There's probably no character names, descriptions, things of that nature. So I'm just dumping out all just the raw stuff. And then when I edit, I'm actually not really editing. I'm just refining sentences and adding all the description stuff in. So my rough draft could be 60K, and when I'm done with it, it's like 84K. So. But then it's got better sentences, and it's got all the descriptions and stuff in there. So, yeah.
I haven't heard of it really happening very often when I've talked to other people who write, but I like that method of going in and kind of refining the specific details of everything. Like, I can see that working well for fantasy specifically. You have vast open worlds and many named characters, and just going in and being like, right now this person is just Travis, and then later it's gonna be
yeah, that mountain over there, yeah, sure, it's in the north somewhere.
It's a mountain. It looks vaguely like a triangle. You get it. But we're moving on.
Yes, pretty much.
That's awesome. So do you Do you do much world building up front? I don't mean like in the story because you've just elaborated on that, but do you have like for the core series, for example, you've got 5 galaxies going on, right? So like did you kind of outline all that or build all that, or did you do that in the same fashion where you wrote the story and the world sort of built itself from there?
It kind of sort of builds itself from there. Every now and then I'll have a vivid image of what that world looks like. And then I can just like, oh, okay. And then I'll tweak it from there. But a lot of times, depending on how the characters are interacting in their environment, I kind of build it from there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know I have a weird way my brain works.
I'm visualizing almost like a dungeon crawl video game where like you see the immediate space around you, and then like as you go into the next room, the lights like turn on and
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. As you enter each room, it's kind of like, yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Thank you.
Yes. So you're out there doing the indie author thing. Yes. I was wondering, did you always want to be an indie author? If so, why? And if not, what led you away from the traditional publishing path? What encouraged you to go out and do it on your own?
Well, yeah, I've been writing since I was 12, and I've always thought I'm going to get traditionally published. I just always thought that was going to be how I got in. Mm-hmm. And when I started looking into that, like seriously going into publishing, I was getting the same kind of feedback. It was like, oh my God, we love it, but we don't know how to market it. Well, maybe if you took out this genre, and just made it this. And I was like, well, no, that takes away from the story. So I was getting a lot of feedback. I was like, oh, we love it, but we don't know really what to do with it. And so I was like, oh, okay. And then the Northwest Independent Writers Association, I got in touch with them, and they're like, oh, you can just self-publish. And I was like, wait, what? And so I started researching that, and I was like, oh, this is a lot of work. Actually, it's more work. But I was like, you know what? Mm-hmm. I went to film school. I can do this. So yeah, I know how to use Photoshop and all that good stuff. And that's how I did. I learned how to format on Adobe InDesign and all that good stuff. And did my first cover. It was terrible.
Which cover was it? Will you tell us?
I've got a box of them in storage somewhere. Yeah, a few people do have those first editions, and I apologize profusely. And I was like, I'm so sorry that you have that. And they're like, no, it's great, But yeah, I went and I got a different editor and got it redone. And now the series you see now, that was the core series. That was my first. Yeah. This one was not good. When it first came out, it was not good.
You ever have somebody come up to you for to get it signed, and you just hand them a new one? Like, listen, that thing you're carrying around, that gots to go.
I did it. I was just like, don't you want the newer version? I got it here. I'll just give it to you, please. Yeah. They'll take it, of course. And there's like, oh, cool. Now I got 2. It was like 2 signed, because I'll sign the old one as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's kind of jarring when you see the one that you hope someone had buried come out. Yeah.
Yeah. Freshman jitters a little bit. It's hard once you release those things into the world. There's no taking it back.
Nope.
Nope.
You talk about, so there's the writing, the editing, the cover design. I'm sure with independent, it's kind of like the marketing yourself. Is there, other than getting the story out, which I'm sure is your favorite part, but other than that, is there a favorite part of the independent publishing process?
I'm one of those weird people. I love laying out the print copy. I'm one of those weird people who likes formatting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm not a writer, right? My brother's a writer. I'm the reader.
Uh-huh.
Could you, what does that process look like? Because I'm curious.
So the print version, I mean, you have to lay out how each page looks. You have to, you're putting in the headers, the footers, the page numbers, things like that. You want to make sure all the words are in the box. There's nothing going astray outside of them, and there's no weird like word widows, like one word on the line, things like that. And a lot of fixing of kerning is what they call it. And making sure that all the spaces work and there's no weird like river spaces between words and paragraphs. So yeah, I go in there and I lay out my book and tweak it until it looks good.
That is fascinating, because as a reader, like I just take those things for granted, and sometimes even complain like, "Oh, this looks terrible! Like, how can a publisher like I don't think the work that goes into it?" I'm just like, "Oh, give me my perfect copy now."
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I actually have people like, I was like, "Wow, this format is really good. Who did it?" It's like me.